My name is Dean Carr. I'm a member of the board here at QUUF. I've really welcomed seeing every one of you here this morning. Welcome into this day with Quimper Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, a liberal religious congregation founded in 1976, bound together to serve religious freedom, caring community, and social justice. As we gather, I acknowledge that the water, land, and shorelines here in Port Townsend are the traditional territory of the S'Klallam and Chemakum peoples. We honor and acknowledge our Indigenous members and vow to help restore and sustain these homelands. If you're visiting here today, I offer a special welcome and I invite you to join us for refreshments and conversation in the Fellowship Hall after the service. Fellowship Hall is out in the foyer to the right. We have a newcomers table near the patio doors where our greeters are ready to answer any questions that you might have. We're so glad that you're here. Now let us settle our minds and calm our hearts.
It is our tradition to light a flaming chalice to mark the sacred time we have to spend together. The bowl represents our quest for universal love. The flame signifies our search for unity. We light today's chalice with these words from Anastasia Biroche, UU Cemetery student and worship leader. The spark of love resides in us all. We are free to act from it or not. If we choose love, how will love shape what we do? If we choose love, will it improve our actions? If we choose love, how will I treat those around me? If I choose love, will I find that when life gets hard? Will I find it when life gets hard? If I choose love, will you choose love also? Love begets love, and it is love that lights our chalice. Please join us in the opening hymn, One More Step. It's page 168 in the hymnals.
Till Hello, everyone. So glad to be with you. At least some kind of love here. Live here. So glad to be with you. Say, first of all, hello to those children and those caregivers in the room with you today. Let me talk to them first. My name is Don Rollins. I get to be your minister for a while. Please just call me Don. I will be in person with you soon, but for now, I'll be talking like this. We'll be okay. Today, I have a pretty short story for you, but it's for everybody and it's for the grown-ups, too. It was written by a person named Sarah Ellis. I read it often when I come to a new church or a new fellowship. Here we go. The scene is Aberbog, a tidy town by the sea, where a fair was held every fall. The peddlers came from far and away to sell boots and bells and spices and cloth and pancake flippers and lotions, pretty much anything the citizens might use. But one year, a new peddler arrived, spread a carpet, and simply just sat there. No bells, no flippers, nothing at all. By the way, folks, I'm paraphrasing the story as I keep copyright. Aberbog wasn't always a curious place, but late in the day, a young person named Sophie, that is wisdom in Greek, by the way, decided to ask that new peddler why there were no goods to sell. Where's all the stuff? What do you sell? Ideas, said the peddler. I'm an ideas peddler. Not sure what to say. Sophie wanted to know who would pay good money for an idea. People whose ideas are worn out, came the reply, or maybe just people who want to try something different. Sophie still wasn't sure about all this, but she asked how much they cost. Depends on the type. The most expensive are thoughts, and they cost one night's lodging. The cheapest are whims, they cost an apple. In between are concepts and plans and opinions and notions and fancies. Sarah went to buy an apple and then came back and she asked for a whim. But she was confused when the peddler said she could place small pieces of metal on her shoes and then dance. Sophie didn't like to dance. It's okay, said the peddler. It's just an idea, after all. Some words to keep in your head. Sophie still wasn't sure about all this. But the next day, more of Aberbog's citizens, they stopped to ask what was happening here. Mary the baker swapped a loaf of bread for an impression about hills. Perkins and Snick, two brothers and fishers, asked for notions about the sea. And folks were starting to get curious now. Things got a little tense when Jones, the grumpy farmer, asked for a plan. The peddler suggested he knit little sweaters to keep his pumpkins warm at night. Jones became very angry because Jones was very practical. And when he said, men don't knit, the peddler disagrees. There's no reason men can't knit. And since that was an opinion, Jones had to pay extra. And soon folks were coming up with their own creative ideas. If there were 8 days in the week, we'd have more holidays. Maybe the tide doesn't go out. Maybe the land pulls back. Life was pretty swell for the peddler now, right up until the day Aberbog's mare happened by. There was a line of people, but nothing for them to buy. He skipped ahead, rudely asked the peddler what he was doing. The peddler told him he was selling ideas, but the mare found them useless. Where do you get these ideas? Sounds like you make them up. Looking off in the distance, the peddler answered, up, down, sideways, via, through. And now, wanting to embarrass the peddler, the mare decided to buy a whim. And when the peddler said, well, if on a sunny day you put your hand just like this near a wall, you can make a shadow that looks like a duck. Even madder now, the mayor wanted to know why people need new ideas. Peddler replied, the use of them is fresh air for the brain. They make you stop and smile and say to yourselves, gee willikers, I never thought of that before. Really mad now. The mayor said, all this is just nonsense. Peddler replied, not actually. Where I come from, nonsense is sold by the nonsense peddler. Absurdity, folly, trash, drivel, claptrap, gobbledygook. The mayor turned and left. He called the town council together and convinced them to run the peddler out of town because ideas are hazardous. They're untidy. New ideas make people unhappy. They're noisy. They don't match. They're expensive. They hurt your brain. They cause allergies. So the police officer was called, but the peddler was gone now, never to be seen in Aberbog again. But the damage was done. People had started thinking of their own ideas and just couldn't seem to stop. Everywhere you looked, people were pondering and musing and reflecting, and with all those ideas floating around, the town did become more untidy, but it was a lot more fun to live there. So my job as your minister is to give people some ideas, young folk, just stuff to try. But what's really important is for everybody there to come up with their own ideas, because like the peddler, I won't be there forever. But ideas, your ideas, stuff to come up with. That's not just for the grown-ups or the teenagers, that's for you too. So keep on coming up with stuff, coming up with ideas, stuff you never thought about before, stuff that's fun, stuff that will help other people. Remember, my name is Don. I get to be your minister for a while. And now some of the adults are going to sing you out. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you, Don. Now let's form an arch on the center aisle and let us sing our children out to their classes. Go now.
Call now in peace, call now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Call now in peace, call now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Now we pause for a time of generosity and to receive an offering to support the life and ministry of QUUF. The ushers will come among you to receive the offering, and additional ways to give will be projected. Please join me in our offering words, and I don't see the ushers. There you are. Okay, thank you. Our words. This fellowship is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it. And the Offertory is Cat on the Prowl from Jazz Menagerie by Stephen Jackman, performed by Helen Lauritzen on piano and Otto Smith on concertina. Thank you for your generosity. Now we go to joys and sorrows. This time is set aside to share joys and sorrows. We recognize that our personal joys and sorrows are only a fragment of the joys and sorrows of the larger community of life. And thus we place this first stone, thinking in particular of continued attacks on our First Amendment rights. And now, within the congregation, Frank Layden asks us to light a candle for his hope and support for his brother who suffered a stroke at the end of the week. He's now in hospital and doing well, about to start in on a stroke recovery program. We place a final stone, holding in our hearts all those joys and sorrows that go unspoken. Know that we care, however this day finds you. Thank you. And now it's time for a pause to be more quiet of spirit, more mindful of one another's needs. Let's begin by noticing our breaths, the sacred element that unites us with all living things, near and afar. Now slow your breathing a bit, just a bit. Close your eyes if that's comfortable, or rest them on the image on the screen. Be open to this, the only moment we have. Somebody here needs you. They need your eye contact. They need your smile. Somebody here is in pain, and they need you to be gentle and kind. Somebody here is here for the first or second time, wondering if their story might be our stories too. Somebody here is feeling alone or judged or unseen, wondering how wide is our circle. Somebody here is on a roll and life is good. They move with joy and goodwill. Somebody here is feeling centered, caught up in life's glory, despite it all. And so we say, blessed be everybody, every somebody within the sound of this gathering. May you receive and return the love that binds. Amen. Please come back to this moment. Our special music this morning is Bluebird by Stephen Jackman.
Hello again, everybody. Now I get to talk with the youth and the grown-ups. If we have not met again, my name is Don Rollins, and I do serve your congregation as accredited interim minister. Last week, I gave a quick shout out to your staff. Today, I want to give a quick shout out to your leadership. Folks, these are good folks. How else can I put that? So, as I said last week, you're in good hands. If you haven't complimented one of your leaders yet today, find a time to do that. Let them know how much you appreciate what they do. Let's talk about Unitarian Universalism. More importantly, how to talk about it. So here I am, first-year seminary student, wandering the stacks, library stacks, for what I do not know. Maybe a sign that parish ministry is not for me after all. Pack up my few things, go back to chasing down gigs and eating ramen noodles twice a day. Things could be worse. I'm 4 years off whiskey and Quaaludes. Those are downers, by the way. I'm almost out of debt. I've got a teaching degree at this point. I've got a car that starts. I've got a few friends that know me and love me anyway. So all I need is a sign, and it's to my academic counselor's office to officially call this done. Friends, I don't know if you get chills when your body and your mind and your spirit just kind of line up on their own, but even at this advanced age, I still do. And it's magic. An orange sunset, stranger's kindness, a perfect song lyric. Those moments when the universe was made just for us and everything else falls away. Well, that's what happened in those library stacks, not a day or two asking for a sign. Same old books, same old smells, no inspiration, no reason to stay. Until I spot a series of cloth-backed books that begin with the phrase, why I am a Jew, why I am a Quaker, a Buddhist, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, a Jain, why I am a, and then fill in the blank. And last, as I go across the shelves, there's the late UU minister, Jack Mendelssohn's Why I Am a Unitarian. Caveat, this is before merger in 1961. I sat down at one of those tables with the green lamps, and I began skimming, and then reading, and then thinking, and then smiling at these ideas. The library windows didn't rattle, the roof didn't go part to the heavens, but something that had been for works in the years now had a name, liberal religion. The simple, profound message that truth is always unfolding. So why not religion too? I begin here because since the fall of 1984, how did that happen? Liberal religion has been my friend and, yes, my tormentor. It has seen me through some long nights. It has given me some straight-up belly laughs. I try to model it at my falling down best, trying to pay it forward, I suppose. But, and here's the kicker, friends, faithfully testifying to this way of religion ain't all that easy. How to capture a religion that requires us to live in life's depths in order to be true to it, and maybe even laugh along the way. How to do that indeed. What follows is a list of 20 honest questions about our liberal religion in general and Unitarian Universalism in particular, two different things, similar but different things. I believe the questions will ring familiar to those of you who've been walking this path for a while. My answers don't have to be your answers. If all I do here is spark thinking and feeling and ideas, I will have met the task. So let's practice how we tell the world why we're here. I will be assisted by my friend, my partner, my spouse, my technician, the most patient person walking earth, Mary Bracey. Mary, yeah, you're welcome for the choreography. So there we are at the wedding of your best friend and husband. You hate champagne, small talk. You haven't danced since James Brown died. You're just about to make for the nearest exit when Josie, the cousin you haven't seen since junior high, sidles over and wants to talk religion. They've heard you're in some kind of cult, and they love the notion that you're something other than the usual family religion, so they want to talk. Now, fortunately, your friend, your cousin, is not a mind reader. They do not detect your increasing discomfort, this despite calm demeanor and open-ended views. Josie is for real, but so is that spike in blood pressure. You've been here before. Things can go sideways really quickly. And Josie wouldn't be the first person to recoil or get freaky once you start describing our tradition and our values. So there you are, shuffling the theological cards, clear as a bell about what not to say. You remind yourself, don't go all brutally honest. I really haven't put much effort into knowing much about my denomination. All I've got are the bits and the pieces I picked up along the way. So chances are I'm about to say something lame and regret it later. Avoid the hostile, defensive approach. I hate when somebody asks me about my religion, so I'm going to alienate you by telling you everything I don't believe, starting with God, Jesus, and yes, the Bible. The highfalutin academic thing rarely works. Allow me to enlighten you with my expensive knowledge of ancient Hebrew and Greek, higher biblical criticism, natural selection, the new atheism. Just stop me when you're about to collapse so I can catch you. Dragging out the beloved, famous ancestors doesn't work nearly as well as we think. Yeah, we got a lot of amazing ancestors, but surely there's more to us than Emerson or Thoreau, because they're dead. And by all means, avoid the snarky, shock value reply that says you don't really care about your religion. I belong to a secret cult that prays to the ghost of Elvis. You will repel, but that's not the goal. I'm being goofy in the service of a point, namely, Josie is asking you solid questions that deserve solid answers. They're not in your face. They're not misquoting and mangling scripture. They're not interrupting you. Quite the opposite. Your read is your cousin is pretty much like you and me. They're on a path. They're trying to make it through their days. They're trying to make sense of what the late author Cormac McCarthy called this one big old crapshoot. They're just trying to make it through. So Josie has some questions. And now it's your turn. Mary's going to ask the questions. Here we go. You can be off screen. Yes. Okay. The way we practice. Yes.
So, how come I've never heard of your religion?
Two main questions. First, even though we go back to the 1700s in this country, we were never as big as, say, the Methodists or Episcopalians. And second, a lot of us wrestle with conversations like this one. It is not an always easy religion to spread.
So how come the crazy long name?
Great question. When the Universalists and the Unitarian denominations first merged in 1961, they considered other names, decided to go with that one, and it stuck.
All right, but are you a real church or a cult?
We're pretty sure we're a real religion, even if some other folks aren't. Both denominations began as Protestant Christian churches, so in many ways we're organized like that yet today. And over time, some congregations decided to call themselves fellowships or societies or congregations. Either way, we hope we make a lousy cult, because cults are exclusive, inwardly focused, and we're trying our best to be the opposite.
So you're a church, but are you a Christian church?
We are Christian and a whole bunch more. On any given Sunday, you could be sitting next to a UU humanist who's sitting next to a UU Christian, who's sitting next to a UU pagan, who's sitting next to a UU that categorically resists categories. So yes, there are practicing Christians in our denomination, folk for whom Jesus is the model of love and justice, but they're no longer the majority.
Oh, but do you believe in God?
This one takes us into deeper waters, Josie. Some Unitarian Universalists believe in something or someone at the center of it all. Many do not. But it's safe to say that all of us believe that we are on the hook for growing our own souls. As to the word God, some find it a helpful way to talk about mystery or life or love. Some, although probably a minority, pray in more personal terms to a more personal God. Others find God a risky or not very helpful idea. We're all over the place, and most times we're good with that.
So does that mean anybody can believe anything?
Intellectually, yes. I've never known anybody to be excluded or asked to resign membership because of what they think. But I can tell you for darn sure that anybody who tries to convince others of a single view is going to have a pretty miserable experience with us. That free search for truth is non-negotiable.
Well, then what holds you together?
Here's where things get hinky. We're bound by values, not beliefs. Again, bound by values, not beliefs. As I see it, the core values, things that every Unitarian Universalist I've ever met can affirm, there are three things: religious freedom, caring community, social justice. Freedom as in we think people can do their own theology. They can put together their own beliefs that guide and speak to them. Community to us means it's the job of the local congregation to support each person as they test and they live out those beliefs. And when we talk about justice, we mean we're trying to pool our resources to make for a better world. So at our best, it's not what we believe that keeps us together, but the values we think are most important. And just to put it another way, I think our mission is to seek constantly, love freely, serve gladly.
So then are UUs better than other religions?
Uh-oh. Unique, yes. Better than, no way. We're a very human endeavor. We fight over the wrong things. We waste precious time and resources. We fall short of our own stated values. We get caught up in the small stuff. This might sound funny, but I think you've nailed it. One of our greatest shortcomings is that we think we're better than others.
Okay, well, this sounds like some pretty heady stuff to me. Do you have to be rich and educated to be a UU?
Oh boy. It's true that we put a lot of trust in reason and science. We're not very good at taking religious claims at face value. But the class thing is real. We're often near the top of the religious heap when it comes to academic degrees and money. It's part of who we have been to date, but we decided a few years to get serious about how we exclude people with our words and our privilege. It's a start.
Okay, but something's bothering me. Back to the question about Christians. I'm not clear. Do you believe in Jesus or what?
Fair enough. The vast majority of UUs believe Jesus was fully human, a Jewish prophet and teacher that challenged people. If you read closely enough in the right language, now too. In other words, the challenges are current. Challenge to live deeply and love wastefully. Credit to the late theologian John Spong for that phrase. Let me say it again. To live deeply, love wastefully. Some of us find Jesus relevant to our lives and times, many do not. There is no Jesus plank in the Unitarian Universalist platform because there is no Unitarian Universalist platform.
So you don't believe in the Bible then either?
If you're asking, do we treat the Bible in the same way as some conservative traditions, the answer is no. Most of us believe that ancient books contain some good ideas, good teachings. But frankly, there's a lot of other stuff that doesn't hold up thousands of years after it was written. Some of us study and draw from those books. Others believe there are better reads.
Okay, but what does your church say about gay people and abortion?
For the past 50 years plus, our denomination has been working on behalf of gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, queer, other non-binary folk who have been denied full personhood. Let me say that right. Who have been denied full personhood. We have persons who identify as queer, trans, and non-binary at every level of our organization, including ministry. But we need to do a whole lot more. A whole lot. As to abortion, I think most of us believe it must be left up to the individual. There is no plank here again. But in the interests of full disclosure, I'm pretty sure if we were to take a survey, most of us would be pro-choice.
Okay, and I'm from the South, so what about race?
Our history is full of people who worked to get rid of slavery and advance civil rights. But we don't think the goals of equality and equity are anywhere near achieved. And we own that we too have plenty of work to do to get our own house in order. But we're finally looking in the mirror. I'm proud of that.
So what do you teach children and youth?
That they are good, that they are part of a long and a proud free church tradition. And when we get it right, we teach them to honor their bodies, to use their brains, to feed their spirits, and change their world. We teach them about personal spirituality, world religions, service, Unitarian Universalism, and love.
Okay, what do you mean by free church and liberal religion?
Yeah, these terms have a long history and particular meanings. They basically mean truth can change, religion should too. Liberal religion, free church, these are ways we tell others that we think religion doesn't have to be off the rack. But there are free thinkers in lots of religions. As I see it, Unitarian Universalism is our pew, but religious liberalism is our church. Bottom line, we're part of something much wider than many of us even know.
So is everybody a Democrat or a Green, some kind of liberal?
Yikes. I'm not going to lie to you here, cousin. The vast majority of us identify as political and social progressives. Excuse me. But we've started to challenge the idea that you have to be a political or social liberal to be a religious liberal. We're repelling fewer and fewer people who don't meet that unspoken but very real standard.
All right then, but what about heaven and hell?
Let's go back to the place of ancient scripture in a modern age. Fancy way of saying the Bible was written by and for people in a very different place and time. Some believe that heaven was beyond the clouds, hell was beneath their feet. And while some of us do believe in an afterlife, I've yet to meet a UU that pictures a lake of fire or streets of gold once we give up the ghost. And it all goes back to those books.
So do you realize how confusing this all is?
Are you kidding? How would you like to spend years of your life explaining this stuff? The thing to remember is this. We believe you can and should find your own path, period. Amen.
So, what is your denomination really trying to do?
I wish I had coined this one, but I didn't. When we get it right, we're trying to increase the amount of love in the world. In other words, we're trying in our own stumbling, train wreck way to make things better to make ourselves better a day at a time. And we're trying to be spiritual grown-ups as we do that.
Okay, and the last question, what if you're wrong about all this?
Also, fair enough, Josie. The only straight answer is we believe there are many ways to be spiritual, not just one, not even 100. And yeah, we are willing to roll the dice on that. And we could be wrong. But the way we figure it, none of us sees the face of the holy straight on. Truth is partial. Truth cannot be tamed. What we do know for sure is we're on a journey without end, and that's okay. Most days that's okay, and that's all we need to know. Cousin Josie ponders. Cousin Josie's mind has just been blown. I tell him, it's okay. I tell him we're talking on a way of life here and not just a religion. Cousin Josie says thanks for the conversation. They've learned a lot. And just then, one of the groom's chemically altered brother decides it's time to break out the cornhole boards and the bags. Josie rolls her eyes, says something about maybe skipping next year's reunion. Enough is enough. To each. The takeaway, you friends, in the room and online, not everybody who asks us the tough question not everyone who asks us the tough questions is looking to start a religious gang war with us. Some folks are just asking what our odd duck religious clan is all about. When you and I can answer from the head and the heart and the spirit, we will have done right by that questioner. We will have changed places with them. We will have honored them. We will have seen them. So let us be informed about the two old amazing denominations that brought us into this precarious moment in our lives, in our country, in our world. Because those old traditions, those old gospels, they still speak. Their message of freedom, community, and justice, they yet course through our veins, calling us, no, daring us, to be worthy storytellers of a gospel capable of changing lives for the better.
Our closing hymn is number 318 in your hymnals, We Would Be One. Please rise in body or spirit.
We would be
Our closing words come from Amy Zucker Morgenstern. May our hours together be blessed as this one has been, by open-hearted sharing, learning from one another, and making beautiful harmonies together. And may we greet everyone we encounter with the same acceptance and grateful kinship until we meet again. Blessed be. Please join us in the chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish our flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, or the power of transformation. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please now enjoy the postlude, Mr. Wolf by Stephen Jackman, and go in peace.